October 5th, 2018. I really debated whether or not to read this letter out loud because there are a number of people, parties to it, and there was a lot of sensitive information in it. And by the time I got through redacting it to protect everybody involved, it wasn't going to make any sense at all. So I think what I'll do is just explain what was going on. So there was a situation where a bunch of big cats were rescued from a location that fell into the hands of people that were friendly to our cause. And so what we were trying to do was to get access onto the property so that we could prove that these people who are using lion and tiger and liger cubs are killing them as soon as they can no longer be used as pay-to-play props. And there was simultaneously, there was a situation going on where Stanford University had access to LiDAR, so they had this ground penetrating X-ray sort of a thing where they could X-ray into the ground to see whether or not there were bones of animals buried in an area, so that we would only dig where we needed to dig in order to find the evidence that we were looking for. And this was a letter that Howie was writing to the people involved saying, we really want to do this, and we want to do it before it snows so that the ground isn't hard and so that we can easily access these bones. And we felt like it would be very important to our cause to be able to show that when people pay to pet these cubs, they are leading miserable lives until they end up being killed for their parts. And we also suspected that we would see their teeth being cut out and their claws being cut off to be used for these purposes. And so this is what we were trying to effect. But the problem was that the people who were in possession of the land were concerned that the previous owner, if this were happening and we were filming it with a film producer, not the Tiger King people, that if we filmed this, that it would cause him to file a libel or slander suit against them if we were able to produce evidence of this kind of abuse. Now, the answer to a libel or slander suit is that if it's true, it's not libel or slander. But still, people can sue you and tie you up in court forever, make your life miserable, and they just didn't need any of that drama in their lives, so they didn't want to do it. So we said, okay, how about if we buy the property and we make the claims? Because we don't care if these bad guys sue us. We are prepared to take them on. And so that was the course of this letter, was trying to purchase the property. And where we were stuck was in coming to a price. And so what we said is, we're willing to pay whatever the value is of the property, but we need to know what that is. And so we need an appraisal that we'll pay for in order to find out what the property is worth. And then we'll buy the property. We will work with Stanford to come in and do all of this investigative work, and we'll produce all of these results, and then hopefully be able to get people to stop paying to pet cubs. And so this is where we were at this particular time. So that was the nature of the letter, was trying to ascertain the value of the property so that we could buy it. And spoiler alert, that never happened for a number of different reasons. But sadly, it just never happened until we got possession of a different zoo, which was Joe Exotic's GW Zoo, and in Carole Baskin's cage fight, which was filmed in 2020. We went, we dug up, and we found exactly what we expected. We found young cats. We found cats with their teeth and claws cut out. And so we were able to prove it then, but we were hoping to prove it back in 2018. And then this was a very short one, so I'm going to read it. October 6, 2018. It makes me sad to give up, but it's something I almost never do. The following was from Howie to an attorney that we were working with, and was asking whether we should focus on a bill that only deals with the trafficking issue. I had felt so confident that we could pass the Big Cat Public Safety Act, but I agree with Howie's conclusions. We talked about it in the Jacuzzi last night. I'm putting more hope into the movies we are working on to end the demand, and hope that Joe will try to use his knowledge of all of the evil doings of his network to try and buy his freedom from law enforcement. And then there's a quote here. It says, after spending massive amounts of time on the bill over 6 years, and something in the range of $750,000 when I added up, having achieved enough votes to pass it and finding that we cannot, despite all of our efforts, get it out of committee, I am starting to feel, although not finally concluded, that we cannot get a meaningful bill through a Republican Congress and have to seriously rethink what we do if they retain control, which I think is better than a 50% probability. That sounds like Howie's quote that I had included there. If you're enjoying my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. You can find other ways to connect to me over at bigcatrescue.org/Carole.Baskin.